Mama's House is a shelter in Palm Desert, California for young women who are in a crisis pregnancy situation and have nowhere else to go. One of the services they offer is a nutritional program to help new moms nurture their health and that of their children. The program was developed by Daniela Acosta, a 17-year-old Girl Scout, as part of her Girl Scout Gold Award. Today, we introduce Carolyn Krishko, a certified nutritionist and personal trainer. Carolyn admired the community garden at Mama's House, which include herbs like basil, thyme, parsley, cilantro, and Greek oregano, and vegetables like peppers, squash, eggplant, broccoli, and cauliflower, which she says can even be boiled, mashed with cheese, and formed into pizza dough.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things you don't have to feel super guilty because you're like, oh my god, I just ate a whole pizza. This is something that you can actually use and incorporate into other things. And it takes on the flavor of any kind of a cheese that you actually put into it.
Carolyn also recommends spinach, which can be eaten raw in a salad or hidden in lasagna, adding iron and potassium, which are good for your bloodstream and keep up the electrolytes in your system. If you have extra, you can freeze it and use it later, but be sure to strain it when it defrosts. She also likes to use kale and recommends it be boiled down with black-eyed peas and bacon to make a hearty green side dish. Radishes go well in salads, and their leaves can be used in cooking to add flavor. If you have any scraps left over, you can keep it in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag and toss it in the freezer to be used later for vegetable stock. Celery greens are great in salads, but can also be laid on top of a meatloaf, where the flavor will soak in. Then you can toss it just before you serve. Celery freshens up any dish, and it is also good in a stir-fry. Peppers are great in salads and stir-fries as well, and their seeds can be used to flavor olive oil. Carolyn adds that an herb like thyme can be overlooked, but it is great in chicken and in casseroles and can pair well with spicy dishes. Basil comes in many varieties and can be eaten whole, blended with garlic and olive oil for a pesto, or used to flavor lasagna, meatloaf, and other meat dishes. Peppermint can make a tea, which can soothe an upset stomach. Carolyn says that peppermint mixed with ginger is good for colicky babies. Cilantro is good in salads, and she says people shouldn't be afraid to try new combinations. She even says broccoli, raisins, cilantro, and strawberries blend well together. Chives look nice on scrambled eggs and can go on meat. Who knew? Greek oregano has a different flavor than Mexican oregano. It makes a good salad dressing when you mix it with equal parts of water, olive oil, and balsamic vinegar. If you have extra dressing, you can dump it right back into the garden plot, and it will feed the plants. Zucchini squash tastes good mixed with corn, oregano, and cheese for a good side dish. Eggplant can be grilled or baked in the oven with egg batter, breadcrumbs, and Parmesan cheese for eggplant parmigiana. Or you can add curry for Asian flair or stir fry it with soy sauce and water. When you grow produce yourself, you can limit the pesticides, which you will find even on organically raised items from the store. In your garden, you can choose a natural remedy, blending part vinegar and part water and spraying it on the leaves. If you have a little white fly, it is susceptible to milk, which can be rubbed on the leaves. Carolyn also advises taking a close look at the labels on food you get at the store and look specifically for the amount of sugar and sodium. The spaghetti sauce, for example, has good things like folic acid and lycopene from the tomatoes, but it also has 6 grams of sugar per serving.
High fructose corn syrup is something, it's just a sweetener. Whereas if you were to pick your tomatoes out of there, toss them inside the pan with a little bit of water, and then maybe sprinkle a little bit of sugar or some honey in there, you're going to sweeten it naturally, and it's going to give you the sweet flavor that you would get coming out of a can, but in a more natural way.
Fruits and vegetables give you natural sugars, but the sugars mentioned on the label of canned foods are generally being used as a preservative to help it keep longer, and it is the same for sodium or salt.
You have a combination of sugar and salt in canned goods to keep them so that they stay on your shelf for longer and they don't rot.
If you were to make a tomato sauce and put it in a jar, it would not last as long as something in a can. So canned goods are fine, but fresh is better.
Most people will go, oh, it's certified organic, it must be good for me. Not necessarily. So that's where you really want to take a look at the labels.
Carolyn compares labels on a can of tomatoes and on a box of prepared tomato soup.
No? Okay. A little over a third of this can only had 6 sugars in it. This has 11 for half. So it's got more sugar. This one only had 140 or 160, 140 milligrams of sodium, which isn't a whole lot of sodium. This one has 680 for half of that. It's a lot of salt. That's almost your full requirement, like daily allowable amount. Those are the preservatives to make this soup.
She advises avoiding food that have more than 10 grams of sugar, and you want to discern what type of sugar you're eating: cane sugar versus high fructose corn syrup, stevia, or aspartame.
The ones you want to look for is something more along the line of honey, dates, figs, raisins. You'd be surprised actually at how good they are in food. If you were to cook up a pan of chicken with chopped dates, some of your basil out there, and let it boil and add a little bit of balsamic vinegar, the flavor that it puts into it is a really rich, deep flavor. And if you do like a little salty, add some green olives to it.
Then she compares processed pancake syrup with real maple syrup. A quarter of a cup of pancake syrup packs quite a punch.
It's 210 calories, which is really almost a full meal's amount of calories. 49 grams of sugar. And this is high fructose corn syrup and a lot of just different caramel colors and different chemicals to make it look the way it does.
Real maple syrup has less sugar and no chemicals, but is more expensive. She suggests you add honey to it and make it last longer.
Low sugar ones, what they end up doing is they add aspartame. So then you have to decide, do I want sugar or do I want a chemical that is pretending to be sugar?
And the labels tell you about the building blocks of your food. Protein builds muscle and tissue and is good for your skin and nails. Fats and carbohydrates are your energy builders. Carolyn also has advice on the grocery store. You are better off buying mostly from the outside rim of the store, where you will find eggs, meat, dairy, and produce, and only buy processed foods sparingly.
But if you stay on the outside of the grocery store, that's where most of your nutrition is.
Frozen dinners are loaded with salt and sugar. If you eat too much processed food, it makes your insulin spike and your metabolism can slow down. Any advice for new moms who want to lose weight?
Frankly, a lot of vegetables. They're high in fiber, they're high in vitamins and minerals, and because they're high in fiber, they keep you fuller longer, so you can eat more of them, and they're not as many calories. That's the big thing.
To improve the quality of your breast milk, go for avocados, which have the good kind of fat. Choose real butter over margarine because a little goes a long way. Almond butter is better for you than peanut butter. Greek yogurt has more proteins and probiotics because of the pasteurization process. One tip for a sweet treat that isn't too bad for you?
They're dark chocolate covered dried blueberries.
The blueberry and acai and pomegranate.
And I can eat a whole bag of those and it's only like 400 calories. So I am weird. I look at stuff like that because I want to get the most bang for my buck. So it's like, if I'm going to be bad, how can I be bad but not too bad?
In a good way.
We hope you have learned a few new tips on how to stay healthy, so you can have the energy to watch over your new bundle of joy.